Good morning, growing in His grace. Hey, happy first day of spring. Today is March the 20th, and it is indeed the first day of spring. A little chilly out there right now, but the calendar says it's spring, and so I'm gonna go with it. This morning, I found myself once again in Proverbs 16. I keep going there for some reason, and the first verse, it keeps catching my eye, and I want to share this with you. And it says this: the preparations of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. In this verse, we see that it's our responsibility, man's responsibility, to prepare his heart. And the heart is, again, that area of that soul area where you have your emotions, your feelings. It includes the mind and the intellect. In the New Testament, kind of call it the soul area, the soul. And this verse is telling me that it's my responsibility to prepare my heart in such a way that when there's opportunity to speak, what's going to roll out of my mouth will be from the Lord. I mean, this verse is speaking to someone who has, first of all, who's seeking after the Lord, a close walk with Him. This is not, this is not a verse that for someone who's not following after God. So for the man or the woman who is seeking after God to hear from the Lord and to be used of the Lord and to speak the wisdom from God, He will give if we will prepare to receive. I got thinking about that and being the first day in spring and all, because, how many of us do spring cleaning? And we start preparing our flower beds for new stuff coming up. I mean, you would think that you'd get up all your fall leaves, right, in the fall before winter. But where I live, with all the trees, it's a constant. So, even up last week, I'm still clearing out some leaves that have still been blowing up by the house. Why? I'm preparing for the spring to come, and all those bulbs that have been planted will bust forth, and I don't have to look at, moldy, gross leaves from last fall. And again, we rake and we mark and we mulch and we rake, but it's an ongoing thing. There's always preparation. I think about spring cleaning. I think about us as a people. We prepare for guests to come over, and we prepare a room for them. We prepare meals for people. And do we really prepare our heart? I spoke on this recently. It might even been in the last video. It's been a lot going on. We had some sickness came through the house. And so I think it's been a week since I sat down with y'all and did a little mini devotional. But we'll take the time to prepare a lot of things. We prepare our kids to go on a field trip, and we prepare for a vacation. And boy, we'll take the energy into time. But how much are we preparing our hearts to hear and to heed the word of the Lord? I got thinking about this morning and applying it. I'll prepare every morning in prayer, in time with the Lord. But what happens at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock in the morning when everything goes haywire and wrong? It really comes back to, how prepared is my heart for my King to be comfortable on the throne, not just when things are going well, or not just first thing in the morning when I have my quiet time. That takes some preparation. So again, I ask myself, because again, if we can't apply this word, practically in our lives, what are we doing? So how can I better, prepare my heart so that when I do open my mouth, the answer will come from the Lord? Because let's face it, sometimes I open my mouth and there will be a word from the Lord, and I'm like, that was from God. Yay. Other times I open my mouth it's the flesh. It's Lori's flesh. I was like, oh, what did I do? So I got thinking about how can we be practical with this preparation? Because I want the Lord to be comfortable in my heart. I want the word of the Lord, the wisdom of the Lord to come out of my mouth, to guide me, to guide my family, to guide friends and others. So one of the things some things that kind of came to mind is in this preparation, we need to do some practicing, get in the habit. Practice being present. What do I mean? Be present for God to use you. Have that time where you literally say, Lord, here I am. Use me. Wherever. You pull up at the Walmart. You drive into the doctor's office. Yeah, you're going there to run errands. But guess what? Nothing is happenstance. There's no such thing as luck. And so what if there's someone in that doctor's office, in that waiting room, that needs to hear a word of encouragement? What if there's someone who does not know Jesus? You could be that person that could plant seeds or could reap the harvest. Practice being present. I think this is part of the preparation of our heart at all time, because if we're practicing that preparation, that being present, knowing that God is present and we're present for his purpose. What about practice praising? Praising in all circumstances. Because I think that makes a place in our heart where God will dwell. God inhabits the praises of his people. And we are told over and over that praise, he deserves our praise. And so certainly we welcome him to be present and to flow out of us to others when we praise. How about practicing the pursuit of God? I was thinking about, some young people, some older people. They have hobbies, they have sports, and they pursue getting better at their golfing. Or they're a young guy, he's on the football team, and he's always practicing and pursuing being the best quarterback ever. We pursue with a passion a lot of things. But do we pursue God himself? Sometimes, and this kind of reminded me from my devotional this morning, I read Oswald Chambers, and that kind of put that thought in my head as well. When we go to prayer, are we pursuing the answer, or are we pursuing the God of the answer? Are we pursuing the healing or the healer? The provision or the provider? When you were younger and you were dating, perhaps dating the one that you ended up marrying, you pursued that person. You showed interest. You made yourself available. When the phone rang, you answered it. So maybe these are some ways that we can better prepare our heart if we want the answer of our tongue to be God's answer. Practice being present. Here I am, use me. Practice that praising all day long, even when you don't feel like it. And practice pursuing God. Again, it comes down to our relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. He died on Calvary's cross to be in relationship, that we would be reconciled with our Creator. That is good news. And so it doesn't just end when we get saved. That's just the beginning of our walk. So are we really pursuing to know him more? So that was my thoughts this morning about preparing our heart here. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy this first day of spring. And Lord willing, we'll see you soon. Have a great day.